Peace and blessings, y'all. Welcome to Voices of the Millennials right here on Love Bay Afrobeat Music Talk Radio. I am your host, Elle de Lyon, aka Elle the Lion, and I'm coming to you live from Toronto. You can join me here every Wednesday where we speak to individuals from the Afro Caribbean community, and we speak to them about how they transform breakdowns into breakthroughs and find opportunity in opposition. And we stream this live. Right now, we're coming to you live on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and also streaming to 135 countries who are listening to us. So, hello and welcome back. And welcome if you're here for the first time. I'm also joined with an amazing guest today, and I want you to know a little bit about this guest before we bring them in. So, Venesse Lewis is the author and illustrator of Naya Hatton. Let's Get Those Coils Crowned in Satin. Born and raised in Toronto, and she has deep Caribbean roots as a second generation Jamaican. I can definitely relate to being, having those kind of roots. So Venice's passion for textured hair empowerment started after she returned to her own natural coils after years of chemical processing, and what was inspired to share her journey in falling in love with her tightly coiled hair. And I thought that it would be an amazing, amazing, amazing pairing to bring Venice in, especially as being someone who can relate so much to this journey of falling in and out of love with my curls. For the ones who can see me today, you can see the crown is out today, and I would love to speak to Venice a lot, right? Let's speak about what is happening in hair. There's so many different facets, especially after getting to read a little bit about you, Venice, and doing some research. Very excited to dive into these topics. And Venice is on a mission to inspire a coil savvy world through the increased recognition of Afro, kinky, and zigzag patterned hair textures. Because there are differences, y'all, but we're going to find out. So, welcome everybody, Venice Lewis to Voices of Millennials.
Thank you for having me. And yes, your crown is out. I love it. So great intro. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Super excited to speak to you today. And I thought that because, sometimes the guests, I know them personally. Venice is someone that came to us, through the lovely world of social media. I love how it connects us all to each other,
Right?
right? And gives us this opportunity to get to know people because we both actually grew up in Scarborough, which we didn't realize that. But I feel like, when parents say, like, I feel like I know you, I feel like I know you. I feel like I've seen you in community doing your thing. So I'd love to know a little bit more about you before we dive into the deeper conversation and get elevated. Okay, so I have these this or that questions. So you could get with this or you could get with that. And you just like say the first thing that comes to your mind, the one that resonates with you the most. I'll give you
All
two
right.
options. All right, here we go. Writing or illustrating?
Ooh,
And these are all based off of things that I think are related to you and what I know about you so far.
that's a really, really good one. I love both, but I think I
Okay.
like writing more. I
Mhm.
genuinely enjoy expressing myself through writing, the ability to think through my thoughts and lay it all out. Yeah. Anyway, keep going. See?
Okay. I love it. I love it. And I'm for the explanations too, because I'm
Okay.
always like, wait, why? So yeah, I'm for it. I'm for it.
All right.
Okay. So afro or twist out hairstyle?
Twist out, twist out. Yeah. There's a
Mm,
little more definition that I like. Yeah.
I was talking to my hair about this today. We'll get into that.
I love that. Yes.
Yes. Deep conditioner or leave-in conditioner?
Hmm. Leave in. Leave in.
Hey, I
Yeah.
love the leave-in. I just leave it in. I like the feeling like the moisture's there forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Same.
okay, natural hair journey or big chop transformation?
I did not do a big chop. So definitely natural hair, slow journey growing out those old dusty ends.
Hey, yes, I hear you. I also I held on to the ends. I was like, Yeah, I guess these are not gonna curl like the rest. Yeah. Yes, I remember that day. Didn't do the big chop. I was too scared for that too.
Hmm.
Okay, book signing event or a hair talk workshop?
Hair talk workshop. I
Okay,
have one coming up, and I hope we can talk about it a little bit more as we chat.
we definitely will, and I want to be able to attend, so we will chat. We will. Okay, inspirational quotes or personal anecdotes?
These are good. I love me an inspirational quote, though.
Yeah, me too. Those one-liners, that's all I need.
Yeah.
That's all I need
Yeah.
for the day. Just keep it in mind. Boom. Okay, texture defining gel or curl cream? I need the answers for this one.
Okay, I definitely need a gel. The curl creams do not hold for me. My hair is going to kink out in minutes.
Mhm.
Definitely needs to be a gel. Yeah,
I
hands
agree.
down.
The gel is that's the key, y'all.
It's the key. It's the
Gel.
key.
Get the gel. Okay, and traditional. So this is our last one, and then we'll get into a little bit more about your journey, especially like you as an author. So excited to speak to you about that. So this one is about you being an author, traditional publishing or self-publishing.
That's a really good question. So I chose self-publishing after speaking with some other authors who have done it, and I like the ability to keep it at community level and have control over all my creative aspects. So I'll see. It's still new to me. I'll see where this takes me, but definitely self-publishing.
Okay, I hear you on that one. I'm definitely in that realm of considering it. So, very
Okay.
excited to hear about that. And actually, my first question is really just starting out with for me, how I got to know you. You let us know about your book that you have coming out or that you have out, Naya Hatton. And is it Naya or Nia?
It's Naya.
Naya, okay, I was correct. Naya Hatton, let's get those coils crowned in satin. So, could you share a little bit about your journey and what inspired you to not only write, but illustrate this book?
Absolutely. So, one, I actually braid hair on the side, which, like a lot of us Black ladies, we have some sort of side hustle. So, I was braiding hair. I've been braiding hair for a while, and just noticing like when people would come with their kids or women in general, there was just a lot of questions about hair care and little things that I had learned along the way. And I was just like, wow, like there's a lot of gaps in understanding simple things, or even just when women still use like scrunchies that like rip out their hair, and I only use satin scrunchies, so all that kind of stuff. And then I've always really appreciated art, so it was my actual sister who came to me one day and said, "Hey, like you should write a children's book. You love art, you love this hair thing, like just combine it together and do it." And so we were sitting there one day, and it was actually we were there. It was a 1 year anniversary of my nephew passing, so I kind of wanted to do something to sort of memorialize him. So I'm like, let's do this. So literally within 2 days, I wrote the story, and I'm like, I'm gonna illustrate it too. So I did. I learned watercolor, and within like 5 months, I illustrated, and painted it. And yeah, I just really wanted to communicate my journey of learning to love my hair, but also tips and tricks about hair care, and just focusing on the use of satin. So that's kind of where the book title is really intentional because it's Naya Hatton. So the last name was literally just to rhyme with the word satin.
I was wondering, I was going to
Yeah,
ask.
yeah, it's just a rhyming thing, and just to show that the whole book rhymes. Like I tried to be very intentional with it. So get those coils crowned in satin. So here she is, learning to use the proper techniques to keep her hair healthy and thriving,
Mhm.
and to protect her coils and crown it. Which is just a whole bunch of symbolism in there, just loving her hair and who she is in her own skin.
I love that. I love that. We need more of that. It took me quite a while to embrace my natural hair. Um, into my adulthood, I was still perming my hair and, wearing weaves and trying to assimilate to a culture that, it was never built for me. So why was I trying to build?
Ah,
And so I love that we have voices like yours right now speaking out on this, especially at the level of being a child, because it was then that I started to not like my hair. And
same.
so, yes, and I actually would love to know, now that we know that you are an author and illustrator and so many other things, we're going to get into that, but sticking on, your inspiration for this book and putting it all together and also resonating with the character that you wrote about. I would love to know how your upbringing was, you know, in terms of your relationship with your hair and how you got inspired to be an advocate for this arena.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking that. So I remember being in elementary school, probably about 11. And so bad. So at that time, my mom still used to do like the braids with the bubbles and stuff, those kind of hairstyles. And I wanted so badly to perm my hair. So I remember going to her and she finally said yes. And I was like, oh my gosh. So going to school the next day, and I don't remember exactly what the kids said, but I realized in the reaction, somehow the way I looked the day before my hair was relaxed wasn't
Mhm.
accepted. And now I was accepted. And I just remember that. Like, I just remember the feeling it gave me. And I'm like, huh, that's how they really felt all that time. And so just even why I wanted to perm my hair when I look back, like it was really just to identify with someone else. And that was a whole self-esteem thing that I had to unlearn, because then when I decided to go natural, it was actually by accident. I was braiding my hair back to back braiding my hair just because it was easier to put my hair in braids. And I noticed I had quite a lot of new growth. So I was just like, do I go and perm it or do I keep going? And so I decided to keep going, but I was so scared. I was really anxious about what other people would think, how I would feel. I didn't really wear a lot of makeup, and girl, I learned to put on a full face because I said, listen, the face has got to look good if I don't know what the hair is going to look like. So it was this whole confidence thing. But I'll tell you, the reactions I got were amazing. My friends made me feel so good, my family, and it's not like external validation is necessary, but it made a difference. And I loved it. And that was the beginning of my journey. And so that was probably like 5 years ago. And when I tell you where I am now, I'm a little like, it's still a journey, because I'm still like, I'll be honest, right now, I'm not wearing my natural hair. This is a sew and weave. And I find it easier to not wear my own hair. And it's what is that? And so I wonder if it's not becoming comfortable with my own hair and just having to get out of that uncomfortableness and just be building a habit of learning to do my own hair every day. I'm not sure. I haven't really figured it out, but I'm working on it.
And I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because yes, today my hair's out, but also because it was like a battle of not having a lot of options. Like, because we know, like, in order to get it into a certain style, it's going to take some product, it's going to take some time. And so I decided that, you know, I'm going to do that thing that you just mentioned about being comfortable with the uncomfortableness of seeing my hair in this state where I'm like, is this a style? Like, is
It
this
is. You actually look so good. Like, so jealous.
Yes, thank
So
you so
jealous.
much. But also, I love your hair as well in the style
Thank
that
you.
you have it in. And we talked a little bit about this before, but protective styling versus you masking, I guess, is what I'm thinking is the question here. Like, are you truly protecting your hair? Because for me, when I put in other styles, one, it might be so that I can achieve a certain look, like so that I can
Mm-hmm.
get, you know, a really full afro, or even like a really slick back style with a long ponytail. And then there's other times where I don't want to put any heat in my hair. I don't want to do like, I'm very low maintenance with my hair, like 2 products. Like, I like to keep it very simple, and that works for me. But that being said, where does that leave us in terms of, there's some people who are still doing this because they're trying to assimilate, they're trying to fit in. And then there's some of us who have realized that, oh, wow, you know, I can be this versatile. Sometimes I could put in a weave, and sometimes I'm gonna just chill. So I would love to know, that was my take. I would love to know, how do you feel about this? And we have some people tuning in the comments. So yeah, there's so many friends here today. Hi, Sean. And I also saw another friend. I hope that their comment comes back up, and we will definitely speak about them.
Yes, so much to unpack in what you just said.
Yeah.
I love that whole question. So one, I think I moved away. Like before, I used to wear straight weaves, and I was trying to have a look there. Now, when I wear weaves or protective styles, I always try to go for a kinky texture that looks like mine. So
Mm.
I am trying to stay with something that looks natural to what my natural hair looks like. But in the same sense, it's still not my hair. So it's still a conflict within myself. But in terms of, you asked the question of if it's really considered a protective style, in the sense that is
Yeah.
it really taking care of my hair? So that's another thing, because I used to braid my hair a lot to the point where my edges are
Mm. I know.
they're
Let's not look
struggling.
at here. Let's just
Mm,
keep it over.
exactly. And because I can do my own hair, I did not like any fuss or like I had to have it perfect in the front because I could do it, and that was to my own detriment. So I think we have, and that's part of my mission, is to really get away from that thinking that our natural hair, the way it grows out and full, and because it doesn't grow down and straight, is unkept or it's messy or any of that negative connotation, because it's just beautiful the way it is. Like that's how it was meant to be. And so I really am trying to, for myself, embrace it and to really make that a focal point and elevate it. And that's why even this book is really about, not that there's anything wrong with any curled hair type, but I'm really putting the focus and emphasis on coily, kinky afros, because I feel that's the most unrepresented when we look at the spectrum of curly hair. And it's just not seeing enough of that representation. That's why I have this conflict inside of me. That's why it's still like a learning process. And I'm just trying to really elevate it for my own self, speak it into existence, and anyone else who understands and identifies.
Yeah, and honestly, that there was just so many images that came to mind as you were speaking about what I still think is good hair. Like, still have this idea actually that there's such a thing as good hair versus bad. Like what you were mentioning about, now there's, okay, you could have your hair in this nice big puff, but your edges have to be done. And if your edges are not done, then therefore you are still in this category of, I guess, being ugly. That's where I go with it in my mind. It just feels like, oh, so that means I'm ugly then. Like what you were saying about
Exactly.
that experience with that boy that at your school, I can remember countless, too many to even name, of times when I walked in with my hair like this, or times when I walked in with my hair more straight, um, or even when my hair, like it has changed over the years of me going natural. It's gotten more of a pattern. Before it was kind of just a afro. It wasn't really
Gotcha.
like anything, but I stuck with it, and I think that I trained it to become
Yep.
with the twist outs and everything. So that's a big tip. I really want to drop that gem that one day I had this idea that, oh, I think my hands are like a human curling machine. So if I just keep doing this, eventually my hair is going to get it and like work with me. And it did, starting to work with me. But before that, people would be like, if it didn't have the gel in it and it would just look more like just undefined, let's say,
Yes.
then the next day, if it was more defined, I would get the, oh my God, I love your hair like that. You need to do that more often. And I'm like, but yesterday you said nothing. So
Exactly. You hit it right there.
now I
And you
guess I'm
recognize that.
ugly and that's my most natural state. Or so what does that mean about me? And so I'm so glad that you are tackling this. Is a big mission, but very
Yes.
necessary in our community. And I would love to talk about a little bit about hair diversity, like when it comes to, you mentioned these different hair patterns, like being defined or undefined, but all of them actually do have a definition, even the ones that, yeah. So you tell us, you are the expert about like these different hair patterns, and how did they come into play? Like what information can you share with us that maybe can help us to make better decisions, more informed decisions before we go about, hating ourselves or our hair? And shout out to
So
Jeanette and Change. These are the individuals in the
thanks for
comment.
joining, guys. So for one, I remember even when I was just going natural and like very curious about what my curl pattern would look like. I was watching all the YouTube videos. I was deep in the YouTube.
Yes.
And so I was asking my mom, like, oh, do you have baby pictures? I want to see like what did it look like then? And all my hair is in plaits, so I couldn't really see. And I'm like, oh, am I gonna have the loose curls? Am I gonna have the loose curls? And I was so obsessed with like how it would be. And I didn't have that loose curls. And I had to learn that that's fine. Like my hair texture doesn't grow like that, and that's fine. And that's really what it was. So there's a type system that I don't really subscribe to, that puts their hair in certain categories, type 1, 2, 3 to 4 being the most kinkiest. I get why it's there. It just helps to organize it. But really, like, your hair grows a certain way, and you just have to learn to love it and adapt it the way it is. And Sorry, I forgot my train of thought.
Oh yeah, no worries, no worries. Just like in terms of, well, I would love to know more about what curl system do you prescribe to, and how do you define curls, and the different types that there are.
And so I am really all about elevating and really like promoting coily, kinky textures. The tighter the coil, that's what I want to see. I want to see more representation of the other of tighter coil textures. Just because I did some research, and about 65% of the world has some level of curly hair. But when you see mainstream media, most of what we see is looser curls, wavy hair types, or even, and I don't mean any shade, but a lot of times it's girls who are mixed textures and have that kind of softer style or curly hair. And so I really want to see more people that look like me. And so my whole mission just beyond the book is really to create a platform for hair diversity, hair promotion, and hair care education. So I want us to have thriving hair even within our texture, within the coiliest texture, because sometimes there's still that idea that maybe our hair doesn't grow, and it does grow. Mm-hmm. And there's so many women like on social media with their platforms and hair showing how beautiful and lustrous their coils can grow. And I just want to connect people to see that, because I feel like it's not represented enough. We still only see that in certain, and it's the idea of texturism, the idea that beauty is based on closeness to whiteness, and that still exists because of the Eurocentric standard beauties that dominate how we see the world, how we see beauty, and has so many trickle effects too, like it impacts our confidence and other pieces. But yeah.
Absolutely. I love that. And thank you for bringing in this data, because if anybody is thinking that this doesn't exist, it still very much exists. That there's this idea that the closer you are to whiteness, like white supremacy is still reigning in all of our systems. It is what people prescribe to. This is still what, even unfortunately, although I've been natural now for almost over 10 years, still there are times where now we get into this idea of, okay, the good curly hair. So having, the bigger, fuller. So even as you were saying, the representation of what this natural hair movement, yay, natural hair movement, but also still, no, I'm on the end of the natural hair.
Exactly.
Oh, I'm still at the bottom. How? I went natural, but my curls are not big enough, I guess. And just
exactly.
Like the shrinkage and the struggle is real, because even sometimes when I blow out my hair, I don't do it often. But again, then I get the comments of, oh my God, your hair is wow. And I'm like, it's just bigger. But it's the same hair, y'all. Same girl, different hair.
Exactly. Girl. Can I chime in on that?
Yes,
because one of the things that I put out my platform is about zigzag pattern textures, and that our hair has shrinkage. So in the book, it's actually my favorite part of the book. I talk about how, actually I have it right here, I'm gonna just flip to the page. I talk about Naya is confused in the book, and she says to her mom, as she's washing her hair, and she says to her mom, how come my hair shrinks? On screen there.
Yeah.
And her mom explains to her shrinkage and talks to her how when it's in its natural state, it's the most healthiest, and yes, it will shrink. But when it's elongated, you might put another style, a stretched twist out or something, then you'll see its true length. And just explaining that, because not only do I want kids and us to understand our own hair, but I want allies of our hair to understand that too. So if you see me with a fro one day, and then I come tomorrow with a twist out that looks bigger, or I get a silk press, yeah, this is my same hair. Yes. That's the true length of my hair, girl. Yeah, get to know it. That's my hair.
Yes. And without the, I guess, I don't know, I would love to talk about this too. Your take on, for me, it feels like a microaggression sometimes being in certain spaces, even with, or it's not only with people that don't look like me, even people that look like me, they just feel astonished by the differences. And then, the space becomes taken up by my hair, which I just came to work today. That's all I just came to work today. I just wanted
you just touched on a whole other thing of anxiety for me, because how I show up to work has been another part of this journey. One, I used to, and that's a lot of the time when I was wearing straight weaves to work, it's because I did not like want to look any other way. But it was when I switched to another role, and my first day I saw someone with locks, and that was not something I was familiar with in my other position. And so I came with braids the next day, and then I was comfortable wearing braids. But still, when I would take my hair out, or even if I had like twists in and I wasn't ready to take it out into a twist out, I was confused. Like, do I wrap my head? Like, can I come with my twist? Are they going to be confused? You just see it in their face.
Yes.
And they don't realize that your eyes right now are giving me anxiety. Like,
yeah,
it makes me so uncomfortable. I don't even know how to wear my hair. And it's all dealing with all those things.
The question, like, because sometimes they will, just skirt around the real question that they want to ask, which is like, why is your hair like that today? Like, so they will ask other things like, oh, well, yeah, oh, how do you get it like that? Like, do you do this or that? And I'm like, do you really want to know, or do you just want to know why is my hair like this today? Like, why did I make this choice? It feels like it's not my choice. Like, I can't make a choice. Yes, a lot of anxiety, because at the end of the day, definitely know that it is my choice, and having the representation helps you to feel more comfortable. So that's why even this conversation, I'm so glad you came down the rabbit hole with me, because it's important for us to say these things out loud and know that you're not crazy. You are not crazy, girls with the curls. You are not crazy to think you should be represented more. And also I think the representation will help with the questions that people have. They will be able to do their own research at home, like I did. Like that. I went too to figure this all out. I didn't know everything. Like, so also I'm not the encyclopedia for hair. Like,
thank you.
I just came to work today.
You said it all right there. Honestly. And that's part of my issue too. Like, why are there so many questions? Like, if I have to find something out, I know where to go find it. So why do you think you can just approach me and be so ignorant?
That's what I'm wondering.
It boggles my mind.
But now, in your position, having written this book, how do you feel now, with this knowledge and the mission that you're on, having these questions brought to you? Like, have they become easier to deal with? And do you plan, I know you talked about your hair workshop, so I'd love to know a little bit about that and what you plan to discuss there. And will these kind of topics be talked about?
So in terms of people coming up to me, I want you to, like, this is the platform I'm building for you to have that open and safe space. So certainly, but even if it's a coworker who knows I'm doing this, don't think every other day you can come and ask me these questions. Like, it has to be a space where I'm open to discussing it as well. But certainly for this platform, I want to be open and accessible to it. I'm doing a number of school programs, which I can't wait to talk to the kids. I'm building up a fun interactive way of talking about hair diversity and anti-hair bullying, and understanding that hair looks different on different people. And just because you've never seen it or you've never experienced it before in your family doesn't mean it's different or weird. It's something that you need to get used to, comfortable with. So I can't wait to have those conversations with kids. But in terms of the book launch event, I'm so excited for this one. So this one is going to be, and because that whole piece as well of hair education and sort of filling in some of those gaps and where we don't understand about our hair, because a lot of us are still learning how to take care of our hair. And so I really wanted the book to be a focal point of the book. So I found a textured salon that focuses on our hair. And I fell in love with this textured hair stylist. Her name is TK from Textured Education. I'm so sorry. TK from Textured Hair Education, I believe it is. And she knows her craft. She knows textured hair. She's a COILY hair girly herself. And so she's going to come and talk to parents and kids about their hair, answer questions, talk about shrinkage, talk about different hair patterns, products, understanding product labels. People still don't understand how to choose products, which is fine. Some people don't even understand deep conditioners versus conditioner versus a leave-in conditioner. Why am I using all of them? Do I need all of them every time? All those different questions. So I really want an opportunity to have someone who's trained in this to come and speak to it, and then be in this salon where they can come and get services done, and just introducing those. So that's part of my whole platform too, to just show like these salons exist, and just knowing that they exist in our community. And another thing about TK, the stylist, is she's actually on a mission herself to bring a textured hair curriculum across Canada to all salons. So she wants to teach people who are non-Black, because when she was going to school, and many other stylists like her, they'd never learned about curly hair at all. They never learned about textured hair. And so she's trying to bring that. So really excited to have her. So excited.
I love, love, love that. And so this event will be to launch the second book.
Yeah, so it's for the, sorry, it's official. So the book has been put on pre-release. So I just released it earlier this month, actually in January. Sorry, my days are collating. But the book officially launches March 2nd. So it's not exactly out yet.
Okay, so we just got like a little sneak peek of what's happening.
Exactly.
Okay, but is there plans for a second book or to continue Naya's journey?
So Naya is evolving. I am very excited to continue some form of a series, whether it's a book series, an animated series. I'm applying for grants and seeing what I can get, but I would love to continue this in various mediums because I really see an opportunity to spread this message in a fun, interactive way. So I don't know. I just say she's evolving and she's inspiring a coil savvy world. So just stay tuned to where she brings us.
Yes. Okay. I'm for that. As you know, like, I think that this is incredibly important work that you are doing, and not to take us away from the hair, because I'll probably go back to the hair. It's always about the hair for me, honestly. But I would love to know, right? Like, I don't know, me and my hair, just like a big relationship. I talk to my hair. I'd love to talk to you about that too. But I'd love to know about some of your other work, and I want people to know a little bit about your background. You are a second generation Jamaican, so your family, your parents were born in Canada as well?
No, my parents were born outside of Canada. I was the first to be born here.
All right. Okay.
Yes.
So amazing. Oh, yes. First generation Canadian, second generation Jamaican. That's some math for you all. Are you listening? Are you awake?
Are you awake?
So that being said, I'd love to know about your Caribbean roots and how your cultural background has influenced your work in hair empowerment, but also you are a senior policy analyst with the government. And
That's
so
right.
I'd love to know, like, how you have mixed all of those things and how your culture plays an influence in the work that you do in both of those fields.
That's a great question. So one, I found that this was or is the dream job for me, but it was difficult for me because I don't see a lot of people that look like me in this role. And so it took me some time to get to understand what it takes to be a policy analyst. And for me, it was a difficult journey getting there. And I don't know if it's because I didn't have the privilege that some other people have in their culture and just understanding the process of getting into government. But eventually I made it work and I got in. So that's great. But I love it. My portfolio is emergency services. So I support paramedics. And I actually part of the EDI committee at work. And so the reason I joined or wanted to do policy, and I'll go back years of why this became something I want to do. But I remember being in high school, going in from grade 11 to grade 12, and realizing that a lot of the Black men that were in my cohort in grade 9 were not there anymore. And I'm like, hold on a second. Like half of them are expelled. And so I started to wonder and think. And so I looked it up, and there was a policy back then from the Safe Schools Act legislated by the province. And it allowed more powers for teachers and principals to expel students for various things. The reason was to create safety in the schools, I'm sure, but the outcome had a disproportionate impact on men who are already marginalized. So these are guys now kicked out of school, probably no job prospects, probably not continuing education, who are just falling into this system. And who knows what, a very slippery side. So I said, I need to be at these decision-making tables as a person of color to be a part of these policies that come out that are, someone didn't think it through. And so that policy was reviewed and since removed back then. So I was really happy to hear that. But that's really why I started pursuing policy and wanting to be a part of those processes. And plus, I always just love writing. So it was like a perfect mix of like writing and researching, applying critical thinking. And so, I fell into emergency services, which I had no experience in, but it was actually my GM, who's Black, who had been in the role, and I had worked on her for a project for something small. And she said, Venesse, we need help over here. Come support this unit. and I've been working with her ever since, and I love it. And I always just, it's so much to unpack here, but it's such a great opportunity to be able to be a part of this and to support this work. And just from my perspective, bringing my perspectives as a Black person, as a person of color, to these things, like, you know, why are we implementing this policy? How is it going to impact the front line? Have we thought about this component? So just making sure there's those checks and balances from a person of my color, and using the evidence to push that as well. So it's really a great experience. But there are times when I thought it would be hard getting this position, just because I didn't feel like I had some of the privilege that some other people around me in school and so forth had, of just getting in these positions and internships when I was struggling to get in.
And I could imagine that, you know, culture does play a big influence. And I'm glad that you talked about privilege, because in order to get to certain roles in society, to be able to advance yourself. So yes, you know, everything is available for everyone. Like, it's there.
It's there.
Like, is it truly available? Is it accessible? Like, it's available,
Exactly.
it's not accessible. The information about how to get into the government, when your family has lived here for generations, they understand. They would understand how to navigate your education and all of things.
Exactly.
So I'm so glad that you took us down like your journey of being able to get in. And it's very interesting to also see that, you know, how you truly made it in was also by who you know. And that's why, again, it's so important, the representation at the table, because we can see that if I'm getting into these positions by the people that I know, and it's people that look like me who are giving me a chance, then it does show that this has been happening for generations. And so therefore, the more equitable we are in like how we set up our employment, then we will get,
Exactly.
yeah, more representation, and the voices will, it's going to be maybe more, you know, we might have to take our time on some decisions, because more of these voices at the table, there's going to be different interests. But I'm so glad to know that there's individuals like you who are at the helm of emergency services. And I did want you to like just dive a little bit into what emergency services are at the level of government that you're working in.
Okay, so the province, 3 levels of government: federal, provincial, municipal. So I work for municipal level. I work for York Region, which is all the municipalities from Markham up to Newmarket. There's 9 of them. So it's regional level, but it's considered municipal. It's a lot to unpack. But anyway, we are mandated by the province. So everything a municipal government does is legislated by the provincial government, including emergency services. So when you call 911 and a paramedic shows up, that's the work that I do. So
Okay.
I'll write operational policies related to, you know, safe driving. When a paramedic is legally allowed to speed, that is when their lights and sirens are on, as opposed to when they're not. I'll write things on reporting sexual abuse. If you suspect a patient you're working with has been sexually abused, what their responsibilities under legislation are. And also, I have to monitor that legislation very regularly. I have to see what's happening across other regions. So Durham region, Toronto, Peel, all the others around us, see what's happening, find new ways to support the community. So what we're having now is populations growing, we're getting more call demand, and people are calling a lot more, and we have a more aging population. So as people age, they require help more from doctors and various healthcare needs, but they're not always timely. So they'll call 911 instead. So what we have is more frequent 911 callers. So we have community paramedics that support them directly now and check on them almost daily. So we look for new innovative ways of supporting the community. So that's kind of things I have to kind of keep on the cusp of research and see what's happening in different jurisdictions to bring that sort of best practice research forward. But we're also legislated to report annually to our council. So just like Toronto has a council, York Region has a council. So I have to write a report annually on how we are doing to meet our response time. So for certain levels of emergencies, so cardiac arrest is at most severe, to like a broken arm, the least severe, we have to meet that within a certain time period. I believe it's 6 minutes for the number one and up to 25 minutes for the least severe. So we have to report how we're meeting those response time targets annually. So I have to do that report. So things like that I have to report to council, get budget requests, and then other supporting work that involves it, like the EDI work that I do to just make sure that our policies go through a rigorous review process when they're being developed.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. It's
Amazing.
a lot, but it's fun.
Yeah, so essentially, from what I'm gathering, you are the individual who actually what the public will read about their rights or however they're to proceed in a certain situation, especially when it comes to emergency services. You are the one that writes it for us to understand.
Exactly. When it relates to York region, not
Yeah.
anywhere else. Yes, exactly.
Wow. I
Yeah.
honestly, I always used to see policy analysts. I used to work for the government as well. Like when I first
Okay.
thought I was working for the ODSP in the program for the Ministry of Social Services. I don't know. They always keep changing it.
Yep.
Government changes.
Yes, they do.
But so at that time, I think it was MCSS. And when I was working there, I always used to see policy analysts as a place I could possibly like go to, but I didn't know what it was about. And again, relates back to access, like access to education. I just never, I felt very intimidated by that terminology. It does sound like a lot of work that you do, though. Not gonna lie, you have to do a lot of research, like you have to know a lot of things. So it is a lot of work, but still, I was personally like, I like researching, I love writing, and I never thought to go into policy analysis. I just didn't even know what it was about. Like, and you just uncovered it, and it's because, again, the accessibility to information from people that look like us who can break it down in a way that I would understand, or I feel safe getting this information from you because I'm like, oh,
Exactly.
these other things, you're for me. You would not steer me wrong. So,
Exactly.
yeah.
And that's the other thing. When you said, how do I bring in my culture too? I always try to simplify it. Like I'm not gonna lie, some of my coworkers, they're brilliant minds and they act like brilliant minds. Like there's just no like, do you have a personality behind there? I
Yeah.
always bring the personality. Like I'm always still gonna vibe with you and just like, okay, so basically I let you know what Doug Ford said we have to do today. Okay. Like just simplify it. Like
Yes, we need you.
um
I don't know.
exactly.
Did you ever think about, this is just me like now just very curious to know if you ever thought about giving information to people, like is there any plans for you to do that, like giving information about how the policies work? Is that a passion of yours at all, beyond, because you're doing a lot, I already know you're doing a lot.
I don't know. I have actually thought about it, but I pull myself in so many different ways. Sometimes I'm like, just slow down, slow down.
Yes, yes. Well,
I've thought about it though.
I think that would be amazing. I'm putting it out in the universe for one day or someone to take this on because I think it's so important. Another area that's very important for us to know about. And for you, how did you get into that line of work? What took you into policy?
So you know what? For some reason, I always liked the municipal level of government. I can't even recall to what it was. Like I've always just been into politics. It just interested me as well. So even like as soon as I turned 18, the first municipal election that was there, I was there voting. So I just remember liking the whole world of government. I don't know if it was my mom always telling me I need a government job, I need a government job. So I just took an invested interest in it. And
Mhm.
so then slowly I just tried to find something that fit what I liked in there. Um, but yeah, just something about being part of decision making that just interested me.
Amazing. I love it. And as a child, you talked about loving writing. And so I would love to know, how did that come into play, and how did you break out of being a policy analyst and then decide to write a book?
That's a very good question. You know what? I so there. Okay, so work, as I mentioned, it takes a lot out of me. COVID was hard. I actually had to switch gears and support long-term care because a lot was happening in the nursing homes. If you recall, there was a lot happening,
Mhm.
and so it was so hectic, and I felt like all I was doing was working, working, and it wasn't doing like I didn't feel fulfilled at some point. So I wanted to do something that was just using my creativity. So the book really just fulfilled that for me. So I didn't know what I was going to do with the book. So really, I had started it back in 2020,
Mhm.
and didn't just finally bring it to fruition until 2023. So it took a while. I was kind of sitting there and researching and figuring out how I'm really going to bring this to life. But it was really just saying, you know what, I want to like do something different outside of my work, pursue another passion or talent that I might have, and uncover what else skills that I might have. And that's really what it was. So I just wanted to break away from that hardcore, rigorous policy writing and do something creative with it. So writing the poem, making the illustrations, it was just like so fun. It was just like, oh, look at this. Look at what we can do here. It's just bringing a different side of me.
Beautiful. And I love that you just dropped a gem. I don't know if I read that about this, but this book, it started out as a poem.
That's
Um,
right.
so was it did you actually draw the pictures first, or you did write the poem first?
Wrote the poem first and then the pictures to match it. Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And had you written poems before at all?
No. So that's, yeah, no.
Wow.
That's the thing. So I was just trying something new. I just like to try my hand at different things sometimes. Yeah.
I'm so glad that you did. This is a fantastic book that I do think that anybody should invest in, because as you said, we all need education on hair diversity, the different textures of hair that exist. I loved what you talked about when you said hair bullying. It brought me back
Mm-hmm.
to, like, I remember that the first time that I felt bullied at school was I was in kindergarten, and my mom, I think it was my fault. It might have been my fault. I'm not going to put it on my mom. He braided my hair, but then I just remember I went to school and half of it was like out. Like, so half was braided. And I was like 4 or 3 years old. And we're sitting in the circle, and I came to school. I don't know. I knew that it wasn't combed. I did know that, but I still was fine with it. I came and I sat down in the circle, and everyone just like erupted in laughter.
Oh,
And like the teachers were just like, they didn't know what to do, because also they're looking at me like, well,
what's going on?
like, is this a style? Like, so then and I just remember them saying like, oh, stop, like, don't make fun of someone. I think they said because of their hair. I don't know. But,
Oh,
hearing you say hair bullying, I'm like, yeah, that's a real thing. And I remember
it's a
another time I had like these big Marley plaits, but before, like, box braids, before people called them box braids. I was like,
gotcha.
and all the kids said that I had a mop on my head. My mom
Oh,
just did it. So, those braids were not coming out for another 6 to 8 weeks at that time. So I was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna live with this now. I'm mopping."
oh my gosh. But you just reminded me of something. There was a friend that always braided her hair in elementary school and they called her so many names.
Yeah,
Oh my
Medusa,
gosh.
like,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, hair
Oh,
bullying. It is actually a thing, and we do need voices in this space to talk about this, because even when I was reading the things that that you were interested in talking about with us today, I was just like, yeah, we are going to put every single one of them, because I want to touch on all of these topics. And I hope that, like, we've shined some light and dropped some gems for you to do more research. And if folks are interested in learning more about, their own hair, are there places that you recommend, or are there services beyond Naya's Coily World that they can engage in to learn more?
that's a really good question. I don't think I have the right answer for it. I could recommend a few texture stylists, but no, there's actually not a lot out there, to be quite honest. Yeah.
So we definitely need more
Mm.
education in this space, because, we, even for myself, I would definitely recommend going down the rabbit hole of YouTube University. That helped me so,
It
so
did. It
much.
did.
I learned how to make gel. I learned how to, like,
Right?
I can do all of those things. These days I don't do all of those steps.
Me too.
But they definitely helped me to get a discipline about my hair again, and understand that I could do my hair myself. Recently learned how to do my own box braids. Yay.
Ah, that's how it starts. You see? Look at that.
And then for you, you also mentioned that you do other, businesses on the side. So we'd love to know any businesses or things that you would like to know that we haven't touched on today, that you definitely want our viewers and listeners to hear about.
Yeah, so I braid a men's hair. I used to do unisex, women and men, but it became a little bit more. Women's styles take a little bit longer with the extensions, and it's just longer braids.
Mhm.
So men, if you're looking for someone in the Whitby area, shout me out. I am on Instagram at Styles by VL. But yeah, I do men's hair, and I like what, again, another thing on my creative side why I liked moving to men's is because a lot of guys now like the intricate styles, like the designer braids. So that's so fun to do. Like taking a crisscross around here, like that's the fun part. The box braids is just this ongoing braid. It got a little boring for me. So men, if you like your hair wowed, I could wow it up for you.
Or girls with shorter hair?
Yes, yes, yes. I got you too.
Like our natural hair, I guess I should say.
Exactly,
Yes. Okay.
exactly.
So not extensions. Got you. Love that you're in Whitby as well. I definitely rep for the Durham area. So
Right.
yes, that's amazing. And also, before we get out of here today, I would love to know, because I just looked at the time. This always happens. The time just
Oh,
always,
yeah.
gets to where we're supposed to be, but never enough time to talk about everything that I want to say. So, last thing that I do want is if you could, speak to your younger self, that girl who didn't like her hair, and maybe might be listening today. There might be someone out there, even an older person, who still is not embracing the hair that grows out of their head. I would love for you to drop some gems on them. Any advice that you ever got that helped you personally be able to transform, your thoughts about your hair.
Oh, I'd love to. So one piece of advice is that your environment is small, and there's so much more to what the environment you're experiencing, especially if you're a young person. I remember, as an example, feeling that my bum was so big in elementary school. They would tease me about my bum. And I went to predominantly white school in Scarborough. And then I went to high school where there are more people that looked like me. And I tell you, my booty was not big. Okay. I have a very decently small booty. Okay. And so that was a wake up call. So when I say your environment is small, if there's someone teasing you about something right now, maybe it's your ears, your nose, or your hair, just wait till you get around another environment. Somebody's going to love you for you are, and you have to learn to love everything about you because you are beautiful. And so just find your comfort zone and find that inner part of you that you love, and find that confidence. And then I missed my point. There was something else. Another thing is that Black people are beautiful. We come from so many different stripes and communities and cultures. And what makes us beautiful is that the full spectrum of our textures, our experiences, our hair, our colors are so unique, but make us one people. So let's not think about how much lighter or darker one person is compared to the other. Our Black beauty encompasses all of that and makes us uniquely one. So let's just focus on the beauty of us together.
I love that. I love that. Wise, wise words from Venesse and the creator of Naya's COILY World. Y'all got to make sure you check that out. And March 2nd is
March
the
2nd.
opportunity to check in and actually buy the book.
Exactly. And I have a very fun announcement coming on my Instagram soon, but I'll drop it now. So
Yeah.
one of our sponsors for the event, one of the best tools for me that I loved going natural was the Rev Air blow dryer. And they have gifted someone from the event a blow dryer. It's worth $400 plus their new hydration set, which is another how much. So in total, it's like a $700 gift set of this amazing blow dryer. If you know it, it almost like a vacuum, the way it works. It sucks your hair. Yep.
Oh my
Giving
God,
it
I was
away.
about to ask you. I'm like, is it because I've
Yep.
been looking for it and I cannot. Oh, sorry, y'all, because I have been looking for this and I cannot. I went to the hair store. I'm like, and it like sucks it up and they're looking at
Yep.
me like I'm crazy because they're not even us. They're, a different, they're not even us. That's all I'm going to say.
Exactly.
So what is it called? Please let the
The
people know.
Rev Air.
Rev
It's
Air.
the reverse air blow dryer, but they call it the Rev Air. So yeah, I've loved it because it just blow dries it so easily without all the extra manipulation. It's really a great tool. I'm not gonna lie,
So
but
it
it's
really
expensive.
works. It
It
really
really
does.
works. It really
So
works. I
you
stand
just
for it.
put this and then you just go like this.
Girl, it coming out straight.
What?
Yes.
No, this is oh wow. So we all need to make sure that we head over to this event. And can you tell us where it will be for the people that are in the GTA that could attend?
So it's at Take Care, a new textured hair salon that just opened, I believe, in September last year on St. Clair West, in the Toronto area. So Details will be dropped probably Monday. I'll be starting the ticket sales. But yeah, if you are following me on Instagram, it's at Nia's Coily World or www.niascoilyworld.ca, where all the information will be.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Venesse, for coming through to Voices of the Millennials and having an elevated conversation with me about hair texture, hair diversity, and just really embracing the beauty of your hair in the state that it's in. I really, really appreciate you for the work that you are doing in all the areas that you are doing work in. I think that you are just a change maker. And so we really wish you all the best on your journey. And of course, if you ever have the time again, please do come back and share with us on your journey, how you're transforming these breakdowns into breakthroughs and finding opportunities in opposition. And we will be getting out of here now. It's 7:55. And next up is the Bellas with the Biz. You have been listening to me, Elle de Lyon, on Voices of the Millennials. We will see you, Love Bay Radio. And next time we will be here Wednesday at 7 p.m.